Sorry. Hi. By the way, I tried recording this video, but goddamn real life problems get in the goddamn way. Swear to God, I often question. I should be thankful to God that I'm at least sane. When you compare me to my family, it's just I'm in a big family. My family is pretty big, and it's just hold on. No, if I hit, see, I can't hit the door because if I do, then I get into fights, and I don't want to get into fights because I hate getting my ass handed to me. But anyway, you were wondering, why am I going off topic? Here, I'm on topic. A Quiet Place 2018 kill count. I haven't really seen dead meat videos in quite a while, and yeah, this is 17 minutes long, dear God. I mean, I guess it's normal for a dead meat. I haven't seen anything from James in a while, so yeah. And I mean, considering that the second one just came out, which I still haven't seen, so don't spoil it. Which means I actually can't be on the comments for this video. Um, ah, hold on a second. I just example 394. Why I never catch a break, but hey, I'm doing these very fast. So yeah. Anyway. So yeah. I always keep going off topic. High place kill count. For the record, I have not seen the second one yet. Although I hear it's just as good, if not better. I mean, to be fair, the only review I ever listened to was Chris Stuckman's, and I generally agree with Chris Stuckman mostly. So I feel like if he reviews a horror movie, I only watch it if he recommends it to me, for example. So yeah, kind of says a lot about me, but sometimes I don't trust other critics of Chris Stuckman. Even the critics I'm subscribed to, I'm like, Chris Stuckman's more reliable. But yeah, anyway, James here has Quiet Place kill count, which is going to be very low, but let's just get on with this very fast.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at A Quiet Place, released in 2018 by director and co-writer John Krasinski. Krasinski took a serious liking to the screenplay written by Scott Beck and Brian Woods, mostly because he had recently become a father, and A Quiet Place is all about keeping...
What's interesting is I think this movie, it originally started off as a Cloverfield sequel, but they ultimately they rewrote it and they changed up some aspects to make its own original thing, which is interesting.
Keeping your family alive. Adding to how personal this movie became for him, Krasinski's real-life wife, Emily Blunt, co-stars as his in-movie wife. So if you've ever wanted to watch Jack Ryan and Mary Poppins raise a family in a post-apocalyptic world, this movie's for you. The dangerous...
What about Angel of Verdun? How come I never see anyone mention Edge of Tomorrow anymore?
World in A Quiet Place is inhabited by monsters who will kill the hell out of you if you make any noise. Thus the movie's tagline, if they hear you, they hunt you. Because of this premise, A Quiet Place is a remarkably quiet movie. Just look at the sound waves for the movie file in Premiere. Now compare them to the sound waves from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which came out the same year. Crazy, right? There are more flat lines there than a hospital with a power outage. It makes for an enjoyably tense viewing experience that'll leave you seriously regretting that order of nachos. How many people end up getting killed because they just couldn't keep their mouths shut? Shh, let's find out and get to them. The movie begins 89 days after an alien invasion that's left towns like this one completely deserted. Amidst this silent emptiness, the Abbott family scavenges for medical supplies. Mother Evelyn, a doctor, knows just what to get for her ailing son Marcus, although she has to be very careful not to make any noise while she's grabbing it. Here you go, Marcus. Pills are good. Pills are good. The youngest child in the family is little boy Bo, and he's not as careful as his mom when it comes to being quiet. Luckily, he's got older older sister Reagan looking out for him and keeping everyone not killed. Reagan is a deaf character played by actually deaf actress
Millicent Simmonds, which, I'm glad that they cast an actual deaf actress. They could have easily done the thing where it's like they just cast an actress who's in fact not deaf and just learned sign language. But I'm glad that they hired an actress who's actually deaf, and I think it adds to a certain value. I think it's great, and Millicent Simon's performance in this movie was really great. And like I said, I can't express enough how much I'm glad they cast an actual deaf actress. And yeah, good on ya.
Millicent Simmonds, who helped teach the rest of the cast the American Sign Language they use throughout this movie. As they're getting ready to leave, Bo walks up to them, and the rest of the family reacts like he's pointing a gun at him. Turns out he's just got a noise-making rocket ship toy that Father Lee has to disable by way of removing the batteries. Listen to your pops, kid, that toy's too loud. As the family leaves the pharmacy, Reagan tries to be a good sister and give Bo his toy back, telling him to keep that shit on the DL. Snitches get stitches, Bo. But unbeknownst to her, that little bastard grabs the batteries on his way out too. And so it's not long after this family starts heading back home, walking carefully along a sand-strewn path to...
Also, this movie is very beautifully shot, by the way. I keep mentioning this. The film's DP, Charlotte Bruce Christensen, she's shot movies like Far From the Madding Crowd, the current version, because I think there's a million versions of Far From the Madding Crowd, but the only one I can remember is the current movie that came out in 2015. She also shot Girl on the Train, Fences, and Molly's Game. I think she also was second unit director of photography on Live by Night. And, she's such an amazing DP. And I like that this movie's as well. This movie was shot on 35 millimeter. And it looks better I like that they went with film over digital. I think it adds to a certain value, just like the texture of it all. It's really beautifully made. Hold on. Got some stupid car passing by again. Alright, the car's gone. I can't do a damn thing about it.
To keep their footsteps quiet, that things go wrong. It happens after we're introduced to a great feature of this film, the way it jumps between different hearing perspectives of the characters.
That was really great sound design. Different hearing perspective. I like where it cuts to Reagan's hearing, but she can still feel it. I like that. Right there, that she can as if she feels this. She can't hear it. It's silent, but she can feel it.
Yeah.
As if the sound is sort of vibrating. I just love that little detail.
The movie's not afraid to go completely silent when we're hearing things from Reagan's perspective, and thus she doesn't realize at first when that rocket toy starts making lots of noise because Bo has put the batteries back in it. Lee bolts towards Bo in silent terror, trying to beat the creature he sees headed towards his youngest, but he doesn't prove fast enough, and right before he reaches him, Bo is attacked and killed by an alien monster. That's how you know a movie's playing for keeps, when it kills its cute little kid character in the first 10 minutes. Damn. Man, I guess there's not too much to say after seeing something like that, other than title card. That's a dusty, quiet place. It's now more than 1 year later, and the Abbott family has done everything they can to adapt to this new way of living, including having a bunch of...
Let's see, okay, so it starts 89, then we fast forward day 472. Yeah, so I'd have to look up 89 plus 365 if I had a calculator, but I'll probably do it in my spare time. Back to the video.
Cameras
by the way,
watching
my
over
aunt
their
just showed
property
up.
and reminding themselves
That's why I have
of their
this, so I can hear it.
circumstances
I can
with
easily
admittedly
pause.
cheesy newspaper headlines and whiteboard musings. No, I don't think Lee would actually write, "What is the weakness?" on his whiteboard, but they've got to give us exposition somehow, and it ain't about to be through dialogue. In a matter of minutes, we learn everything we need to know here. Primarily that the aliens operate on sound and that there are 3 of them in the area. Great. Although Lee's efforts to contact other countries with SOS radio signals have proven unsuccessful so far, we do see that there are other survivors in this world based on the beacons of Gondor he sees lit up in the distance. Lee makes sure to light his own flame to let those nearby families know, hey, still here, haven't gotten killed by the monsters yet. Part of the reason they've survived so long enough to deck out their entire farm in Christmas lights, is because they've listened to that newspaper headline and are constructing a living quarters underground. This subterranean hang zone is being prepared in anticipation of a new baby, which, like, damn, Evelyn and Lee, that is a risky move in this world. You've literally got to be quiet all the time. How are you about to have a baby? Number one source of crying and loud poopy bumps. But for many people, there's no point in living if you can't carry on the species. Thanks, evolution. And risking everything to have a baby is very on brand for this movie's themes of familial love and survival. In further preparation for the baby, they've created a breathing-friendly casket bed full of stuffed animals and are paper-macheing the walls in the basement to help muffle sound. Other than that, though, they're just trying to live normal lives, yo. Evelyn homeschools the kids, although I guess band is out of the question. She makes floorboard fish dinners, just, you know, can't have that skin too crispy. And the kids play everyone's favorite quiet board game, Softopoly. I guess it's actually not that hard to be quiet all the time. Oh shit! Lee puts out the fire, but they're worried the damage is done. Was that noise loud enough to bring upon the wrath of the Sonic Hunters? A noise on the roof seems to suggest so, but when Lee goes to check out the window, oh, it was just a couple of cute trash bandits. Can't be squealing all loud like that, little buddies, or else you're gonna wind up being alien food. Lee spends a lot of his time.
That should be 2 over there, honestly. They should have added 2, but I guess raccoons don't count because, well, they're raccoons.
Trying to educate himself about the human ear so he can fix up Reagan's cochlear implant. It's a lot of hard work, so he's got to make sure to take the occasional break and be a good husband by silently slow dancing with Evelyn to some Neil Young on their headphones. Good thing they've got Harvest Moon available and aren't just stuck with his last.
I would have gone with another song that I don't think is Neil Young, but it would have gone like this. Sorry, it's not. I know it's not a Neil Young song, but
Saturday Monsanto material. That would be a bummer. The next day, as Lee prepares their sandwalk and Evelyn listens to their unborn baby's heartbeat, Reagan tries to go into her dad's basement workshop only to be told no, she is not allowed down there. Lee tells her that she knows why she's not allowed, but I'm actually not sure. Is it because she'll make noise? I don't know. He tries to give her his latest hearing aid effort, but she's resistant because his attempts to fix the implant never seem to work. And sure enough, this latest iteration doesn't appear to have done the trick. Reagan is a headstrong little girl, and despite the dangers, she wants to come with Lee on one of his scavenging missions. But he tells her that she needs to stay home with Evelyn, and instead takes along Marcus, who is not excited to leave the safety of this homestead. Lee takes Marcus to a river to collect some fish, and it's there that he fills him in on a little secret. They can make small noises as long as there's something louder around them, like a river, to drown them out. And if they want to make big noises, well, waterfall! Chug, chug, chug! It's actually impressive how out of place human dialogue sounds when you finally hear it in this movie.
You're alright. You're alright. I promise.
In fact, the sound design, done by Erica Dahl and Ethan Vanderin, sound editors who have worked on everything from Lord of the Rings to Transformers, has been nominated for an Academy Award. Sadly, it's about the only representation the horror genre got from the Oscars this year, because Annihilation and Toni Collette were fucking robbed.
That's what I've been saying. Like, I really don't get the Oscars. Like, for best cinema, like, Annihilation had really beautiful visuals. Like, you know, Rob Hardy has, shot them, and, as well as Mission Impossible Fallout. Like, sometimes I feel like I should be in charge of Hollywood. Like, I should be in charge of if I were, like, Bruce Wayne or Tony Stark or some rich billionaire, like, a comic book character, I would say, oh, by the way, I just bought out you guys so I can control that. And the Oscars, hey, by the way, guys, I bought you, so this is going to be my preference and no longer yours. So go on, go to your little retirement homes and, bitch and moan. Yeah, and Toni Collette as well was really goddamn robbed. It's just, here's the thing, the Oscars, they just don't make sense. I've actually been very angry with them really recently after the whole thing. I'm really hoping that Anthony Hopkins gets to kind of, and even though I loved The Father, that Oscar should have gone to Chadwick Boseman. I mean, for Christ's sakes, these are the same people who did not nominate Delroy Lindo.
During the father and son's waterfall-covered conversation,
you,
Marcus asks Lee if he blames Reagan for the death of Bo, and more pointedly, if Lee still loves his daughter.
Of course I do.
You should tell her.
Because even though a year has passed, Bo's death still weighs heavily on everyone in this family. Evelyn takes the time to quietly cry in his old room, and Reagan, who blames herself for her little bro's death, sneaks away from home to visit his memorial and leave the toy rocket ship there. Only after neutralizing its sound-making capabilities, of course. A Quiet Place is as much a dramatic family story as it is a horror movie, and that's okay. On their way home from the waterfall, Marcus and Lee run into an old man in the woods who's standing over the body of a woman. The lady is likely his wife, and it looks like she's been eviscerated. I'm assuming she got clawed down by the aliens, or maybe her husband killed her, who knows. In any case, it scares
I'd say it's the last.
the living shit out of Marcus, and Lee does his best to tell the old man to STFU. But the dude doesn't listen, and instead, after he eats his own chin, what the fuck? He lets loose a loud sound of anguish. Lee and Marcus hide as the guy gets killed in an apparent suicide by monster. Hey, to be fair, it seems like the monsters kill you quickly, so if you're looking to go out, might as well cause a ruckus and do it that way. Back at home, Evelyn's menial laundry work ends up being a forebearer of danger after she accidentally exposes a nail in the steps. That proves to be pretty inconvenient later on, after she discovers that her water has broken.
Prematurely, I might add, because there's a scene, I don't think James showed it, that where it says the baby's due date is at a certain date, and now it's the water breaks prematurely.
As she heads downstairs to flip on a warning light, she steps right onto the newly freed nail. But thankfully, Evelyn is one tough lady, and she manages to stay quiet even as she has to pry her own foot free. Unfortunately, during this incident, she knocked over a glass picture frame, so after she makes it over to a light switch and activates the red warning lights they've strung outside on their farm, she goes to return upstairs only to find there's an alien in the house. And I don't think it's here to be a midwife monster. Jeez. Evelyn thinks fast and sets an egg timer on a shelf, then bloodily steps her way over to the other side of the basement to hide. The monster comes downstairs and, with its super gross super hearing, detects the ticking.
These are actually some pretty good visual effects, by the way. Scott Farrar, in Industrial Light and Mad, and Scott Farrar, he's done like a lot of movies under ILM, which, in fact, he actually got nominated an Oscar. He did Transformers, he did Minority Report, he did AI. Really talented guy, and I think he's also doing the effects on Part 2. So, Industrial Light and Magic, I'm glad they went with ILM for the effects on this. The effects really do look good. I wonder if it's actually a mixture of practical and digital, which, I mean, of course they had to go with CG because I think they didn't have enough money for the practicals, but, I think they're going to use more in the sequel. I don't know for sure.
Of the egg timer. After the alarm goes off, the alien freaks out and attacks it, affording Evelyn the chance to escape upstairs. Lee and Marcus make it back home and see the red warning lights, which sends them into a panic. Lee assigns Marcus to rocket duty so he can create a distraction and save Evelyn, who by now has made it into a...
Hold on, I want to pause here, and I'm just gonna close the window here, by the way. Alright, I'm back. Full screen.
Bathtub where she's painfully awaiting to give birth, biting her tongue to stay hidden from the monster creeping up behind her. Luckily, Marcus doesn't take a long time, and he becomes a rocket man right before it's too late.
This scream was very scary, and when I saw this movie, so great.
The noisy distraction is seen by Reagan, who starts heading home, while Lee runs into the house with a shotgun at the ready. He follows his wife's bloody footsteps upstairs, and although she's missing from the bathtub, a cheap jump scare alerts him that she's now hiding in the shower along with their beautiful new replacement baby. Maybe keep the toys away from this one, huh?
Yeah.
Lee carries his wife and newborn over to the maternity barn so they can deal with this baby, who immediately begins wailing his little baby lungs out. Yeah, you better get under that mattress hole cover, bud. But don't worry too much about the Abbotts, they're very prepared for this moment. Look, it's a baby in a box! The newspaper walls in their underground room work well enough to allow them to talk, so in her first spoken dialogue of the film, Evelyn tells Lee to go find their other kids and bring them back home to safety.
Who are we if we can't protect them?
He promises her and heads out from their underground room, somehow not noticing that a nearby broken pipe is currently flooding the entire barn. Seriously, how did you not hear that? And what broke that pipe? Monsters, I guess? On her way back to the farm, Reagan is unknowingly approached by one of the monsters coming out of the cornfield. Although her disability prevents her from hearing that it's behind her, there is a reaction with her new cochlear implant that causes discomfort for both of them. The noise ends up being so painful to the alien monster that it runs away, and when the implant quiets down in response, Reagan realizes that she's got some monster radar in her head. I think, right? Is that what she's realizing there? She continues on her way and meets up with Marcus, so together they head to the top of the grain silo and light a signal fire to show where they are. But eventually they run out of lighter fluid, and although Marcus wants to stay there, believing that Lee will come for them, Reagan doesn't have as much faith in their patriarchal protector. Back in the barn, the broken pipe has by now flooded the underground safety chamber, leading the newborn Abbott baby to find itself in a real Moses situation. Even
oh, come on, James.
Worse, one of those monsters is somehow downstairs now. So Evelyn has to very quietly grab her baby and hide behind this makeshift waterfall while the monster clicks at her to use its echolocation like a dolphin.
Great sound design.
It's like
and also, I don't think James talked about the score for this movie. The score for this movie was amazing. Marco Beltrami, who, you know, of course got to start doing the Scream movies, did the score on this, and he's such a great composer, you know, and this is one of his best scores. I really do enjoy Marco Beltrami scores, and yeah, like, yeah, you got the guy who did the score for the Scream movies to do this. That's just amazing right there.
Like I always say, dolphins are the alien monsters of the sea. Before it can fully detect her, though, the argument between the kids leads Marcus to fall through the grain silo roof, and that noise distracts the alien away from Evelyn and the baby. It also alerts Lee to where his children are, and he watches as the monster runs towards the sound like a goddamn velociraptor. Reagan jumps down to save her brother from grain entrapment, which, like I mentioned in the Jigsaw kill count, is a seriously scary way to die.
Yeah.
Oh, also, fun fact that I really like, apparently the filmmakers spent their budget locally, including hiring local farmers to grow the 20 tons of corn needed for this scene. They also actually built that 70-foot silo and planted cornfields on the farm a year before production began. So they kinda helped revitalize this little farming area in upstate New York. The kids avoid drowning in grain thanks to a flat piece of wreckage that they both managed to get on top of. See, Jack and Rose, 2 people can fit. It's not that hard.
Yeah, easily, but yeah. James Cameron isms on Titanic.
Unfortunately, this whole corny mishap has caused way too much noise already. The kids shield themselves from the monster, who gets agitated over the feedback from Reagan's cochlear implant, and eventually gets so incensed that it runs away from them, tearing itself free through the side of the silo. Them monster claws be sharp, son. Lee gets over to the silo and finally reunites with his children, but after a brief check-in with each other, they hear the monster nearby, so he sends the kids to a truck that they have situated on a hill in case of emergencies. Lee arms himself with an axe, but he's too slow against the monster, who knocks him aside and causes Marcus to call out. The feedback in the cochlear implant gets to be too much for Reagan to handle, so she turns it off, inadvertently leaving them vulnerable to the monster when it charges at the truck to attack them. Lee gets back up and sees that his children are in jeopardy, but he knows that he doesn't have the strength to fight the monster off, and so he decides to do the only thing he can think of. He signs to his daughter that he loves her, in fact, that he has always loved her, and then gives her and his son the chance to escape with their lives. With that, the alien runs from the truck and charges at Lee, killing him with a swipe that the movie doesn't show us. This is one of those occasions where I won't complain about an off-screen kill, because we don't need to see this self-sacrificing father get torn to bloody bits.
Hold on, let me just pause here for a second, and then I can go back. Yeah, sorry, I thought I heard something. Yeah, I'm glad they don't really show Lee's death in the movie, which I think is fine, because, you know, I think, you know, we already know what's going to happen, so we don't need to see it already, you know. So I think we kind of like go back and
screen kill, because we don't.
Yeah, just the face says it all. We know what's about to happen, and this sacrifice, was very surprising to me. But sacrifice out of love.
Don't need to see this self-sacrificing father get torn to bloody bits. Marcus shifts the truck out of park, and as Reagan watches the horror behind them, the vehicle rolls quietly down the hill and back to the farmhouse, where Evelyn is waiting to embrace the kids with love and protection. That protection means keeping these kids alive, so they all head into the basement where the baby is still safe, and Reagan finally sees how much work her father had been putting in towards making her a new cochlear implant. Aw, don't cry, little girl. Not everyone can keep a neat workspace. With Marcus on baby duty, Evelyn is free to use the shotgun, which is about to come in handy since one of those monsters is coming downstairs. It approaches Evelyn and Reagan slowly, trying to detect them, and that's when Lee's ridiculous whiteboard notes come in handy for Reagan. She realizes that the feedback from her cochlear implant, while painful for her, is an even bigger weakness for the monster, who is brought to its crab-like knees at the high-pitched sound. Inspiration strikes Reagan, and she slams the device against a microphone to create a supersonic attack that cracks this venom-looking bastard's head right open.
Yeah. The effects here look better than the entirety of Venom, in my opinion. In fact, why can Sony hire Industrial Light and Magic to do Venom? Anyway, back to the video.
Exposing the vulnerable flesh beneath its armor-like exterior and allowing Evelyn to put it down with a headshot. Oh, hell yeah! I'm not gonna put the alien on the count because it's not exactly humanoid, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a good kill, Evelyn. Keep up the good work. She's gonna need to keep it up too, because remember what else was on Lee's whiteboard of exposition? The fact that there are 3 aliens in the area, and it looks like that shotgun blast has brought the other 2 running towards the homestead. But as we've all seen by now, the Abbotts are strong and the Abbotts are survivors. So the movie ends with Reagan turning up the radio in preparation for more feedback, and Evelyn cocking that shotgun like a motherfucker.
The numbers.
There were only 4 kills in A Quiet Place, and
yeah, only 4 kills, but
the victims consisted of 1 woman and 3 dudes, although that first dude was a real little dude. With a runtime of 90 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 22.5 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Bo. It's not particularly graphic, but it was obviously super impactful, not only to the viewing audience, but also to the characters, who never quite got over it. Dull machete for lamest kill will go to the woman in the woods they found already dead, or the man in the woods, since there was even less blood involved. I don't know. This movie's not really about the kills. And that's it. A Quiet Place was released in 2018 and has a sequel in development slated for May of 2020.
May of 2021 is when it just comes.
I'll have another episode for you next week, but until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been The Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching this kill count. I want to thank the people who helped me with the ASL to the numbers bit. That includes Zach, David Wheeler, Jet Valaire, Liz Zarb, Alyssa Dale, Krista Allen, David, and Jesse Cruz. I know my signing probably isn't the best, I've never done it before, but I wish I had learned it. It seems like a very practical language to know. Thanks everyone, be good people.
Alright, yeah, realize I have another video in. Necessarily, I don't know how the hell I'm gonna I can't turn off the watch later because it's all automatic now. I remember there used to be a button where you could just pause it, and yeah. Yeah. Alright, that was a pretty good video. I'm leaving a like on that, by the way. So, yeah, actually, I'm gonna look it up here. Quiet Place Part 1. Yeah, it's easier for me to look up here. Actually, let me see how the audio is doing. Yeah. So I'm looking at the budget for this movie, which, yeah, is interesting here. Filming took place in upstate New York from May to November 2017. And, yeah, 17, the budget was, in between 17 to $21 million, and it was like a big box office, hit, apparently. Let's see, box office, theatrical run, yeah, grossed 188 million in the United States and Canada, and 152.7 million in other territories. So it was a very big movie. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Use of sign language. I'm reading a lot of the production details on this. Yeah. Platinum Dunes. By the way. Yeah. Produced by Michael Bay of all people, which makes sense because Krasinski and Bay have actually worked together before. I do remember Bay directed 13 Hours, which is my second favorite Michael Bay movie behind The Island, and Krasinski was really great in that movie. I suggest checking it out if you haven't already. And let's see, filming, development, and writing back here. Krasinski wrote the screenplay with Scott Beck and Brian Woods. Beck and Woods grew up together in Iowa and had watched numerous silent films in college. Let's see. After considering development in the film as a potential fourth installment in Clover, be better to work alone as a standalone film capable of forming an independent franchise. Yeah, filmmakers spent their budget locally, including pretty. Yeah, so about either probably nearly 20 million bucks, and such a big hit. Supervising sound editors, Eric Idle and Ether Vanderoon. Composer Michael Beltrami, Marco Beltrami. Um, yeah, led by here it is. Scott Farrar. Okay. I'm gonna click the IMDb here because yeah. IMDb I think has a better way of it. Let me look up also the production designer on this movie. Jeffrey Beecroft. Uh, let's see. Is an American production designer. He was nominated for an Academy Award in the category for Best Art Direction for the film Dances with Wolves. Let's see. Dances with Wolves, The Bodyguard, 12 Monkeys, The Game, Message in a Bottle, 13 Hours, A Quiet Place, Six Underground. Which means I gotta click on this as well. Yeah, look. Alright, come on, here it is. By the way, if you hear construction noise, one of my uncles is here helping. Oh, all right. Scott Farrar won an Oscar. Um, here. Let's see. Nominated for Transformers: Dark of the Moon, and nominated for the first Transformers film, Chronicles of. Let's see, which one was the winner? Cocoon. All right, so he won an Oscar for Cocoon, which is amazing. Gonna go down here. Um, let's see here. Some of the films he's done. So, Foes, Star Trek. All right, so his first ILM movie was Wrath of Khan, and he's also been a second unit director on Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen and the Hunger Games, the first Hunger Games movie, which I think had additional visual effects, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so let's see, Starman, Cocoon, VFX cameraman. Oh, let's see. So he's also a visual effects supervisor on Back to the Future Parts 2 and 3 because those movies were shot back to back. It's the and then Backdraft, Star Trek: The Undiscovered Country, Jurassic Park, additional plate photographer, Wolf, Casper, plate supervisor, Men in Black, Amistad, The Mummy, Deep Impact, Star Wars Episode 1 Phantom Menace, The Haunting. Oh, Space Cowboys. That was a great movie. I really love Space Cowboys. Yeah, AI, Artificial Intelligence, Minority Report, Tears of the Sun, Peter Pan, A Series of Unfortunate Events, Rent, Chronicles of Narnia, uh, all Transformers movies, yeah, Hunger Games, World War Z, Selma, 13 Hours, both Quiet Place movies, and apparently he's going to be the VFX supervisor on the eighth Mission Impossible movie in animation department. Okay, yeah, member of the American Society of Cinematographers since 2009. Such a great, really talented guy, Jeffrey B. and Scott Farrar and Jeffrey Beecroft. Let me look at yeah, 12 Monkeys. Yeah, so Dances with Wolves. That's amazing right there. And the 80s the original TV show. Art department, visual consultant on Bumblebee and Ambulance. I think I know what this one is. I think it's a camera and electrical department, additional crew. Let's see if he's nominated for one Oscar. So, yeah, this is great right there. I don't think he's coming. Yeah, Ambulance. If I know what this movie is, yeah, new Michael Bay movie. Exactly what I expected. I'll do some research on this one later on and have that separate. Come back to the page. So yeah, that was a really interesting episode. James always puts out very good content, and I haven't really seen Dead Meat in a while, so this was really good to revisit. And I think I'm gonna leave this at a close. A Quiet Place kill count. I'll leave a link to the original video down below and a link to James's channel here, Dead Meat. 4.97 subscribers, nearly 5 million. He's nearing 5 million. I hope he gets to that 5 mil right there, and also link to my Instagram because I'm that generous. And I guess all I can say is thank you all for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and if you do subscribe, don't forget to hit the bell to stay notified. And I guess I'm gonna end it there. So I wish you all Godspeed, and um, just like my last video on Babish.